Welcome to Soul Led Lifestyle Podcast with me, Adele McCoy, and my magical guests, giving you the strategy, tools, and activation you'll need to create your soul dream. Hello, guys, and welcome to the next episode of Soul Led Lifestyle Podcast with me, Adele McCoy. Tonight, I have a really special person on. She is my dear soul sister, Androulla, beautiful friend. I've done a lot of work with her, spiritual work. We done our retreat together, and she's just such a special person. I just couldn't wait to get her on to share her magic with you all. She is an angel guide, healer, and a mentor, bringing love and healing to the world with angels and aromatherapy. So she helps people to connect with their angels and guides, empowering them to release their own gifts and healing capabilities, and understanding that everything that you need is within your soul. So yeah, she's just so special, and I can't wait for you to just get a taste of her magic. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and I shall see you on the other side. Hello, Androulla.
Hi, Adele. It's so
I'm
nice to
so
be here.
I'm so happy to have you here. Like, literally, I'm like, oh, from the last set that I recorded, I was like, oh, I really want Androulla on, and for whatever reason, it couldn't happen then. And so
Yeah,
now I'm so grateful that you're here to
yeah.
share your magic with everyone.
Thank you.
You
Thank you
know,
so much for having me. It's been like nothing happens before its time, does it? So this
yes,
is where we're
exactly.
meant to be. So it's all good.
Yes, precisely. And a lot of you listeners may have seen me and Androulla together because we've done our retreat together. You know, and we've done some other bits and pieces in the past together. So if she looks familiar, that's why. Okay, so let's dive in. Tell
Okay.
us a little bit about yourself. Like, what was life like growing up as a child?
Okay. So I think growing up, I had like a comfortable childhood. I guess my parents divorced when I was 8 or 9. So it was mainly my mum bringing me up, and I saw my dad like every couple of weeks and stuff. And I lived with we moved in with my nan and granddad. So it was like very much an extended family growing up. And then literally 2 blocks away, my auntie and uncle lived, and my 2 cousins. So it was like my 2 cousins were like my brothers. So we were literally growing up together. We went to the same school. But I was always very quiet, very shy. Um, and I was one of the youngest of all of the cousins as well. So I, I felt like I think I found it hard to speak up and be loud, and there was lots of boys around, and it was
Wow.
like a very much like in the Greek culture, it's not that women have to be quiet, but it is kind of a male dominated. Well, when I was growing up anyway, I know things change over the years. That was like 40 odd years ago now, so it feels like a lifetime ago. But yeah, so I was very shy and quiet, and yeah, just very homely. My mum was very strict, as were all the family. So I was home a lot of the time. I wasn't really allowed to go out very much because, especially a girl kind of growing up in northwest London, um, it was, yeah, very, I wouldn't say isolated, but quite a strict household. So, yeah, not unhappy, but yeah, very much family orientated, really.
Yeah, okay.
Mm.
So, as a child, would you say you possessed any spiritual gifts that you were aware of? Did you have any experiences that were strange that you didn't understand?
No, not really, but see, I kind of came into my spirituality just in the past 3 or 4 years.
Hmm.
Um, I've always had really good instincts and really good intuition and just a really good knowing, and kind of trusting of myself and things, and so very much followed my intuition as well. And I remember, in one of my jobs, one of my friends, we grew really close, and she was always calling me a witch because, and this was kind of in my 30s, I think. And she would ask me things, and I would say what I felt, and then it would like come true.
Yeah.
And she was like, "You're a witch. How do you know that?" And that was kind of her joke, her
Yeah.
jokey thing. But um, and now she's like, "See, I knew I was right." So it was always kind of a little joke. Sometimes we would message each other at work, and she'd be like, "Okay, so I'm going for this interview. What
Yeah.
do you think's going to happen?" And I always kind of felt,
Yeah.
felt into things, and I was always right. And she really just trusted my knowing and stuff. But no, growing up, I didn't feel that at all. I didn't know. And I know I've watched some of your other interviewees on your
Yeah.
podcasts and stuff, and people kind of know from a young age, but I didn't really have that. I came into my spirituality like 3 or 4 years ago, but things changed for me when my mum passed in 2016. Like it, like life literally changed just like
Mm.
that. And I think that was the big event, like the big trauma that threw me into this new world of trying to find something to fill that space that I'd lost, that huge void of losing my mum. Um, and I was kind of searching for something to to fill that. Not that anything does, but just trying to find something to fill that huge gap that I had like found myself, like this
Mm.
life that I'm in now without this most important woman. Um, and it was just trying to find something else, I think, because my focus was very much on her, especially the past few years of her life. It was all about my mum and looking after her, making sure she was okay. Um, so yeah, there was a huge kind of shift in my life when she passed away. So
Hmm. So, what would you say was then, then she obviously passed away and you felt this shift? And what was it that, like, what did you experience or what was you drawn to that? Yeah.
um, I was I started a business a couple of years after she passed, and I've always been very much kind of into natural things. I'm very much drawn to essential oils and herbs, and trying to live a clean, natural, pure kind of life. Not always easy, like in the Western world and how we've grown up and stuff. But it was always kind of at the back of my mind, I guess. It was always something. And I always remember I had this memory today, thinking back, and probably a lot of us young girls did this, of having like rose petals and flower petals and putting them in water
Yeah.
and making like
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 perfume.
yeah, this was the one, my perfume.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think a lot of us did that, but I was always drawn to things like that, and I did love being outside in nature, so I was very much and I love the sea and I love the beach, so again very much drawn to water and stuff. So when I, again, trying to find something to fill this space, I started this business, and it was making essential oil candles, and it was again coming back to the more natural way of living and having, and I think kind of seeing my mum go what she went through. She had breast cancer, and it was the nurses were always trying to bring. They did actually bring essential oils into her home to kind of help her relax and have that kind of nice element around. But I've always loved essential oils anyway. So when I decided to start making candles, it was just like a natural thing to use essential oils rather than synthetic and fragrance oils. Um, so I kind of started that, and then obviously I started to be online a lot more, and people started to pop up in my feed and on Facebook and in different groups, and that I was drawn to, and we were just talking about her as well. Denise was one of the first people that I was kind of drawn to in the spiritual community. I'd see her posts on numerology, like her daily post that she still does, and I followed her, and it's there where I started to meet other very women that I was drawn to, and I started to do like different courses and follow in different groups and stuff, and it kind of all started from there. It just started from seeing these posts every day, these different um, life path posts, and about the oils and the angels as well. And it kind of grew from seeing her and then joining her group, and then obviously joining lots of other groups from
Uh-huh.
her. So yeah, that's how it kind of started.
Okay. So then once you started like looking into those things, like obviously you was doing your candles and stuff, did you then get a pull to bring in more elements, like more spiritual elements? What was it? Where did it kind of go from there? Like where was
So
your
from there, yeah, it started off with the oils and the candles, but then I I joined this other lady. I don't know if you might know her, Marianne Jones, and
oh
she
yeah.
was trialing out a beta course, and it was about self-love and kind of finding yourself on this journey. And that's when um, she kind of introduced me more to the angels, because we were just talking in one of our sessions, and she said, the archangels are linked to essential oils. And I was like, no, I didn't. So after that session off, I went and did some research, and then this whole kind of other
Everything opened
realm
up.
opened up for me. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And I was just really, really drawn to the
Uh-huh.
angels.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I have had a couple of experiences and with angels prior to that, um, but I kind of put it put it aside. When something happens to you, sometimes you think, okay, that's happened. I'm just going to put it there and
Yeah,
not
yeah.
really think about it.
Uh-huh.
But when the angels kind of came into my life this way again through Marianne and kind of what I was learning and learning for myself, it brought back these quite distinct things that had happened to me. And one of them was back in 2013. I don't know if I've ever told you this, Adele, but
Uh-huh.
in 2013, when my nan was uh, passing away, basically, she was at home. Um, and when people are kind of sometimes on the verge of that, they wait for family
Yeah.
to come around, and this is what she was doing. Basically, she was very near the end of her life, and I'd travelled from Milton Keynes to London to spend the weekend with my mum and my nan and granddad, and then like her children were coming, but out of all the cousins, I was the only one there. I was the only grandchild.
Okay.
And at one point, my godmother was just kind of tending to my nan and making sure she was comfortable. And then her and my mum left the room. So it was just me and my nan in the room. And I was kind of watching telly. And then I looked over at my nan, and I saw these two angels like at the side, either side of her head, like little cherubs, but
Uh-huh.
very bright, and like the most brilliant white I've ever seen, just like a real sparkling, like translucent white
Yeah.
energy
Wow.
on either side of her. And when you see something, you think, is
Yeah.
is this real?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
So I looked away, and then I looked back, and they were still there. And they didn't stay very long, but then I kind of saw them fading. And then, like, I didn't say anything to anyone because I don't think I was quite believing what I was seeing, but now I know it was real, and it did happen.
Yeah.
And then, like, that same evening, like within 4 or 5 hours, all her children had managed to get there to the house. And like I said, I was the only grandchild, and then she passed away, like very
Oh
peacefully,
wow.
just like the woman that she was her whole life, very peaceful, very kind of angelic in herself,
Yeah.
I'd like to say. And that's how she passed. and then beginning to work and research into angels again, like doing the work in the past like few years, that's one of the memories that always just comes back to me now, because it's one of only two times that I've actually seen angels with my eyes open, like in this physical world. So yeah, that was really special.
Wow.
So um, it kind of felt to me like this is a real deep connection for me with the
Yes.
angel, something I didn't even know about or was aware of or even knew that was part of me and part of my life and my journey, but
Yeah.
it very much is, and continues to be. So
Yeah. I mean, it is amazing. And the fact that you didn't freak out as well, like, oh
yeah,
my gosh,
no,
or you wasn't
yeah,
scared, you were still calm seeing
yeah,
that. And at that time, you didn't know anything about angels and
no,
stuff. So
I knew nothing.
you could
No,
have quite easily have freaked out, like, what's going on?
like
Leave
what
her
on
alone.
earth is
Like, what are you
happening?
doing to
Yeah,
my gran, like. So
yeah,
it's
totally.
almost like on a soul level, you knew
Yeah,
that
yeah,
that was fine and that
yeah,
was peaceful and that was to help her transition, you
yeah.
know?
And it's only, I mean, I've got shivers now that you're saying all of that, because it's only afterwards that and kind of working more with the angels, I realized that yes, they had come to help her,
Yeah.
her transition,
Mhm.
and that was what that was about. But yeah, no, I didn't freak out, but I didn't say anything to anyone because I think that my family would have probably thought I was losing
Nuts.
it. Like, like, what are you talking about? Maybe you need to
Yeah.
go back to
The
Milkins.
grief
Like,
has overcome her.
just calm down. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's just such a beautiful story. And like, I feel that your nan always had a connection with the angels. Maybe she didn't talk about it, but
No.
I feel like she always had that, and that's why it
Yeah.
was them that came,
Yeah.
you know?
I think you're right actually, because she was a very, very quiet woman. I
Hmm.
never heard her raise her voice. I never heard her argue with anyone. She didn't have an easy life by any means. I mean, she traveled from Cyprus, with five children on her own on a boat, all under 15, like five kids.
Wow.
Yeah, and it took about a week to get to the UK from
Oh,
Cyprus.
wow.
So, and she did that on her own because my granddad was already over here,
Hmm.
in the 50s when they were coming over to kind of try and set up and bring
Yeah.
families over. That, so she
Wow.
was so strong and an amazing woman, but yeah, very quiet and peaceful and loving, and she was very religious and a very devout, like it was, the religion is Greek Orthodox, and
Hmm.
she loved reading about the saints and the angels. She had loads
Okay.
of book, and that was her thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. She did have that connection, but she never spoke about it. It was obviously we'd all see her reading,
Yeah.
and this was her way of her connection, but she'd never come out and say,
Yeah.
anything like what we're talking about now. It would, yeah,
Yeah. Uh-huh. So do you think that maybe it was her that kind of helped you get on this path then with the angels?
possibly,
Mm.
possibly. Yeah, I think she was definitely, she had she had a knowing, and I think she was just the peace she brought to the family, to the home. I think obviously that was part of her life's journey to make
Hmm.
sure that everyone was okay and safe and all of that. Um, but yeah, I think that as that was my first experience with angels, and it's only when I look back that I kind of realize that,
Hmm.
yeah, it does make sense that, um, she's that kind of
Yeah.
connection for
Hmm.
me as I work and move forward as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, like Androulla is just amazing, and I would always describe you, Androulla, as the peaceful one, the calm one. There'll be havoc wreaking and you're just calm.
It's
So
fine.
it's fine, everything's fine. This is how it's meant to be. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, yeah, all of that. Not that I
So
don't have my freak out
yeah.
moments. I do, but I'm a
Uh-huh.
human
Yeah.
being. But yeah, I
Uh-huh.
think in general that is kind of my life. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And I also, because I always call you like the angel woman, and when I was having my first experiences with angels in my meditation, I would voice note Androulla. It'll be like 5, 6 in the morning. I'll be
I
like,
know.
I've just done a meditation and I've seen this color and I think it's angel. What color is blue associated? What angel is that associated with? Like, this would be like a few times. And she was
Yeah,
so
yeah,
patient with me, she'd tell me, and, like, she must have thought at that time we were only just establishing our friendship as
yeah,
well. So
yeah,
I was
yeah.
fully in there, like, but
It was
I just,
funny.
I always associated you with angels. So it's such a beautiful thing. Um, so
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about your candles then. So your candles, what do they represent certain things, or are they just smells that you like?
I kind of started off really small with just a few scents, and then obviously it's developed and grown over the years. So I started the candle business in 2018, like literally 2 years after my mum passed.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it started off really small, and I started off doing some different stalls locally, so different events and everything. But then as my journey grew and my connection to the spiritual world and spiritual people as well grew, I started making candles in connection with different angels. So I've got a range of archangel candles, and then just different things that I'm inspired and guided to do as well. I just really follow um, things that come to me and what feel right, and then
Mm-hmm.
I develop and put together sense. And I think, and I know like you've done a past life reading for me as well, so that was all very much about the herbs and the oils and making medicines and stuff.
Yeah.
And when when I've kind of looked into that for myself as well, there's always an element of that
Mm-hmm.
in my past lives. There's always an element of healing and medicine, and I do feel that there's like I'm a kind of medicine woman as well, if you like,
Mm.
and the angel connection just makes that stronger because I trust and listen to what they're showing me and guiding me, and it all I that has kind of grown and developed through the candles as well and the other essential oil stuff that I'm doing. I'm just seeing is my
Yeah, it's
video
starting
gone a
to
bit
blur out
funny?
a little bit. It's
Okay.
okay. It's what happens, isn't it?
Okay.
um, okay, so what's the name of your candles? How can people find you? How can they order candles from you?
So the business was created in memory of my mum, and it's her name was Despina, so it's Despina's Light. So the name came about. So me and Barry were kind of throwing names around. I remember this day like really clearly. We were in the kitchen, kind of brainstorming different things, and we were saying like um, goddess candles actually came up as well, and that didn't feel right, or Androulla's sparks, or some really random
Yeah,
things were coming out. And then he actually came up he said, "What about Despina's lights?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I absolutely love that."
yeah,
So that's what we kind of went with.
beautiful.
Yeah, so that's the
Ah,
name of the business.
and I'll make sure that any links to Andrewla will be in under you know, all the writing underneath the podcast. I'll make
Thank
sure all
you.
her details are there so you can find her. Um, okay, so what advice would you give someone who may be feeling a bit lost, and they could be drawn to the more spiritual side of things, but they're unsure because they've heard negative stuff about it
Mm,
and they're not sure where to start or who,
mhm.
to look to? What would you recommend?
I would always say go with what feels right for you. So there's so many people out there at the moment, obviously the spiritual community is growing and growing all the time, but not everyone is going to feel right for you. So I would, like with me, I was very drawn to Denise, and it's through Denise that I've met you and loads of other um, people and women, and an amazing community that's, just beautiful. But
Mhm.
I would always say, go with what feels right for you. Never feel forced into following someone or listening to someone or working with someone if it doesn't feel right to you. And it is really about trusting yourself, and trusting that what you're guided to, and what you might not even know is guidance or intuition or anything like that. There's the our guides and angels work in a way that show us who we're supposed to be with at certain times in our life, and I fully believe and trust that.
Mhm. Oh,
um
that's
yeah, and it's I was going to say something, but I've forgotten.
sorry. I butt in.
That's all right, go on.
um, spiritual
Oh, that was
high.
it. That was
Okay, go
it.
on.
I've remembered.
Go on.
You will always, you will also as well be shown things. So for me, when I was starting to kind of show an interest in angels, everywhere I looked, I saw things to do with angels. I saw a course on angel healing, which I did. I got introduced to Kyle Gray, which is this amazing angel man, and I kind of followed him. I won actually one of his books in a giveaway. So you will find that when you show an interest in something, things will start to kind of flow for you, and it's like you're being spammed with spiritual things that are in
Yeah.
alignment with you. And it's really about going with that and not second guessing it, and just kind of going with the flow as what appears in front of you. It's not always going to be right, and it's not always going to be the right fit, but if you feel drawn to it and if you feel aligned, I would say go with that and see
Mhm.
how it works for you.
Oh, brilliant. That's such beautiful advice, Andrula. Thank you.
Thank you.
Um, Also, spiritual hygiene, very important
Mm,
for us.
hmm. Yeah.
Um, what three things would you suggest people do to protect their energy?
Okay. So this is something I'm so passionate about. Anything I teach and anyone I work with, like these are the fundamental things that I drum into people basically, and it's where you need to come back to at all times. So cleansing your energy is so important. So I do this daily, regularly, more than once a day, because energy is so fluid and is moving around. You can cleanse your energy, and then come across someone with icky energy, or is a lower vibration, or for whatever mood they could be in a funny mood, and that can affect you. And any interaction we have with someone creates a bond and an attachment with that person. So it's important to cleanse your energy regularly. I do this using meditation. I work a lot with Archangel Metatron, and he comes and cleanses low vibes and low energies from me. I listen to his meditations like twice a day, morning and evening, and anything during the day as well if I need to. You can use crystals, sage. There's loads of things that you can use to cleanse your energy. So kind of go with what you're drawn to. Another thing really important is protecting your energy as well. So anyone that knows angels knows that Archangel Michael is the main man to help you with protecting your energy, and I work with him a lot as well. And any sessions that I do, any healings, I always call him in to keep everyone in the circle, in the session, myself included, safe and protected. Working in love and light, it's important to make sure that you're in a clean energy, so that what you're bringing in is of the purest, of like the highest of source, really. um, and the third thing, I think, make sure that you are working with and being around people who are kind of on the same level of level as you, the same vibration. Not that we are all equal and all connected, but it's important to work with people that you're drawn to, because that's how you grow, and you expand and how you learn. And this is what we're here for, really, isn't it?
Hmm.
To
Yes.
spread this ripple and kind
Yes.
of spread it far and wide. So yeah,
Exactly.
is that
Oh,
is that three
brilliant.
things?
Yes, that's three things. Thank you. One other question.
Okay.
Um, what is your favorite crystal and why?
Oh, okay. Um, I would say rose quartz. I think it's, and I know probably a lot of people say that, but it's just one that I'm really drawn to, just for the energy of it, but the color of it as well. It's pink, and I just love the loving energy around it. And I feel that if my nan was into crystals, I think she would have loved the
Yeah.
rose quartz as well. So
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Oh, beautiful. Thank you for that, Androulla.
thank you.
Um, Thank you for taking your time out to
Oh,
talk
my
to our
pleasure.
audience. It's been lovely as always. And like I said before, if you want to connect with Androulla, I will put all the details of how you can find her on her socials, on her website, and how you can purchase her beautiful candles.
Thank you.
um, but thank you all for listening. And until next time, take care.
Thanks.